Your Excellency, since the 28th of February, your country has been attacked. It's an unprecedented attack from Iran on Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and other facilities. How are the Emirates responding to this threat?
Thank you very much, Matteo, for having me, and thank you for this opportunity. You're right, February 28 was a very difficult day, beginning a really unprecedented time in my nation's history, because we have been recipients of so many drone attacks, missiles, both ballistic as well as cruise. Something we didn't expect from a neighbor, because we were very clear before this began that we would not allow the UAE's territory to be used to launch any attack against Iran. And so we continue to be very restrained, we continue to be very measured. We have an incredible integrated defense system that has been protecting all of us in remarkable ways. We've had only a handful of fatalities, 4 fatalities to be specific, from debris that has fallen. But otherwise, we've managed to intercept these missiles, which is really an act of both illegality, but also unlawfulness, and something that really took us by surprise, but we are very ready to confront what this means. The UAE is still at a defensive posture. We reserve the right to defend our nation, but as of now, we are continuing to simply defend and hoping that wisdom prevails and that the Iranian government decides to de-escalate and not target its neighborhood. Because as you mentioned correctly, the UAE has been receiving so many of these missiles completely unwarranted.
The Emirates normalized the relationship with Israel in 2020 with the Abraham Accords, and also there are United States based on your soil. Do you still think this was a diplomatic right choice? And is there any future for the diplomacy between Abu Dhabi and Tehran?
Diplomacy always is there. The possibility, the encouragement of dialogue and diplomacy is actually a core principle of the UAE. It is necessary for us in our region, but also beyond that. Regarding the Abrahamic Accords, that was a decision that was taken many years ago to open up new avenues of communication, to change the trajectory of our region for the better. And so our relationship with Israel through the Abrahamic Accords, as well as other partners like Bahrain and Morocco and others, has been part of wanting to really change what has been ongoing for the last 70 years, which is a deep conflict between the Arab states and between the State of Israel. And we continue to hold true to the principles and the premise of what the Abraham Accords actually means. Right now, despite all of this, we're still open to a dialogue. But the challenge, Matteo, is not with us. The challenge is with Iran continuing to fire at civilian infrastructure, to fire indiscriminately in really disproportionate and incredible ways.
Yesterday, for the first time, the Israeli media talked about an attack on a desalinization plant in Iran. The government denied it. Can you comment on that?
We completely deny that. The UAE was not involved in that. The UAE does not plan on getting involved in civilian infrastructure attacks. And right out, we've said that this isn't true. If you remember, maybe the 3rd day or the 4th day of the war, there was also talk that Qatar responded and attacked Iran. So this is a time for really dangerous misinformation. When the UAE, and if the UAE decide to take a particular move, the UAE will be very clear about what that move is. And it won't be through leakage in press statements, because that's not also how we operate. We conduct a very forthright, very transparent, and very straightforward approach to these things. And here, misinformation can really cost people thousands and thousands of lives. So we must be very careful about this misinformation.
Why do you think this misinformation spilled from Israel? Do you think there is a strategy behind that?
I don't look into things in that way. It's a very, very difficult, dynamic, changing environment. People talk rightfully or wrongfully, and this is why relying on official sources is the way to determine truth from myth or truth from lie.
These last days were very difficult for your country. Flights were blocked. Now airports are functioning and reopening, but also tankers are in the strait blocked, they cannot pass. How can you reassure the investors and people, expats, 90% of the population living here, that business is going on?
Matteo, it's important to remember history. The UAE has gone through many difficult moments, different kinds of difficulties. Most recent was COVID, but we've also gone through other challenges in our region before. And every time we are stronger and more resilient. And so, yes, it's difficult, but we are agile. Our airports are back, not in the same way as before, but our flights do take off. Sometimes we need to close our airspace, but then we open our airspace again. And we've had hundreds of flights already take off, and thousands of people, both residents but also tourists, who've been able to go back home. And so for me, the way I look at it is, despite this challenge, we continue to emerge in a strong way. And despite this challenge, because we have fundamentals of our economy and our society intact, we will be able to overcome it. Our communication is clear with our people. There is a strong social cohesion, including an incredible 20,000 Italians who are the very fabric of our society and who are doing incredibly well. And by keeping this ongoing, we will be able to pass through this together. I have every confidence, we have every confidence that we will emerge much stronger. We have a strong financial system, a very strong and robust economic integration between government and economic. We do not allow, for example, price gouging, and we're going to watch very carefully for prices not to go up. But also we've planned for strong food security components to be in our system. Despite how hard it looks, and it is difficult, we feel very confident that we'll be able to pass through this as well.
We talked with many Italians. They back the government decisions and the way your government is protecting the population and them very much. There were some critics in the international press. You definitely know about that they were talking about a push from the government to these people to say that everything is fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think the government is really busy keeping everybody safe. We're not going to go around finding people and asking them to say what we think they should say. For example, those who wanted to leave, we've supported their evacuation. Those who prefer to stay, they can stay. You know, it says more about those who are outside sort of talking, it says more about them than it says about us. And I'm less interested in commenting on that negativity and more focused on how do we make sure the people who are here continue to be safe, continue to hear our guidelines in a clear way, continue to be able to not do business as usual. It's a different kind of normalcy, but go back to their daily life. And we pay attention to their overall health, to their mental health, and we want to make sure that together we are able to overcome this as well. You know, these are difficult times, but we are also in a unique position to be able to emerge much stronger than before.
Speaking about the possibly future development of this crisis, how do you think the role of your country in developing a way for diplomacy? So can you see your country as a mediator between the parties? Or
look, we've been very...
You worked very much with Iran before to establish a strong connection too, right?
Correct. And we've always had that strong relationship with Iran, which is why it's so surprising and shocking that they would come at us in this way and in this scale when we have been very clear that our territories are not going to be used and have not been used. So at some point, you know, it's a question of also, do they want to have good relationships with us or don't they, right? The ball is actually in their court, Matteo. We've made it very clear that everything that's coming into the UAE right now is targeting civilian infrastructure. They're over 350,000 Europeans that live here. We have 200 different nationalities in the UAE. Why would you target a mall, an airport, a hotel? Thankfully, all have been intercepted. But still, the idea of targeting that is not a good thing. So really, I wish you could interview them, Matteo, and find out what the larger objective is, because we are not interested in a drawn-out escalatory war. That has never been our intent, which is why today, day 10, we're still holding our defensive posture.
Do you see a possible development in Iranian politics now that Mujtaba Khamenei and Pezeshkian are ruling the country, or
I hope that they come to
a possible change?
It's early days. It's difficult to tell. Whatever the Iranian people come to as a conclusion for who they want to represent, we remain open to being able to have that dialogue. But again, the attacks onto my nation and to other Gulf states would need to stop.
The very last question about the diplomatic relationship with Italy. Also, we have strong relationship, growing relationship. What about the development of that in this time of crisis and after that?
We have an incredible relationship with Italy, a historic one, a strong cultural one. And with Prime Minister Meloni's government, we've been able to do many amazing things together. As you know, my president visited for the first time a state visit to Italy last year. Our trade is growing. We have 20,000 Italian nationals here who are contributing to the strength of this economy. And we are very grateful for Italy's stance to protect, through an air defense system, the UAE, and to continue to protect all of these citizens that live here from these 200 different nationalities. I see the relationship go from strength to strength to strength, and we're very much looking forward to doing more with our Italian brothers and sisters.